Hi, I'm Dr. Y. I'm a behavioral health doctor and a licensed clinician. And today's question is really about suppressing our emotions. Are you a person that struggles with expressing your emotions? It could be that this is just really not what you did in your family, it's how you grew up. Or it could be that it just feels uncomfortable to share how you're feeling and what's going on because you're not able to control what's going to happen once you share how you feel. One of the defense mechanisms that we engage in when we're uncomfortable with talking about our emotions or showing our emotions is called suppression. Suppression is really unhealthy for you. And let me tell you why. It is a natural, normal human process. It is the way that the brain and the body process what is happening to us to express emotion. So what happens when we're not willing or able to express our emotions and how we feel is, for the lack of a better term, we just store it up inside. And so what that can lead to is additional mental health problems and physical medical problems that the body starts to manifest because we are not processing our emotions in a healthy way. When we suppress those emotions, we think that we're coping with it. Well, the truth is you might be dealing with it for a little while. But eventually what's going to happen is it's like Pandora's box. You can only shove so much down into that box and then try to put that lid on top, right? But eventually the lid's going to pop off and everything is going to come out all at one time. It would be much better for us to deal and cope with negative emotions one at a time or as they come up, as opposed to, you know what, I'm going to keep stuffing. I call this stuffing. We're just going to keep stuffing it here and stuffing it there and avoiding it and not talking about it and all of those things because then I don't have to. Folks, that is a spectacular myth. Smith, that's what it is. We think that by suppressing our emotions, we don't have to deal with it. The truth is that anxiety, that angst, that fear, whatever it is we're feeling is stored in our body. And there then becomes a biological response to our psychological ignoring of the things that are going on. You can only do it for so long, and then it all comes out. And so how does this come out? Well, it could come out by a nervous breakdown. It could come out with a medical problem that you didn't have before, and now you've triggered a chronic medical problem. It can come out and show up in our relationships. It can come out and show up in our work output and our productivity. There are a lot of different ways that suppressing our emotions in an unhealthy way can show up in our daily lives. Here are 8 signs that you are suppressing your emotions. This is how it can show up in our behaviors, thoughts, and feelings. Here we go. Number 1, if you are overworked and too busy. Now, I have to say, I'm a very busy person, and I've got a lot of balls in the air, right? But if I use overworking to try and keep myself busy and distracted so I don't have to deal with my emotions, that is suppression. Number 2, if you feel a sense of discomfort when other people are expressing their feelings, that is a sign of suppression. Why? Because when they're talking about their emotions and you're starting to feel resistance, and by the way, that can even be physical symptoms, right? I get the lump in my throat, I'm starting to sweat, my anxiety comes up, my heart's beating fast, I got to get out of there. Well, honestly, it's triggering you because you have unresolved feelings that you're suppressing. Number 3, when we use humor at inappropriate times in inappropriate ways to deflect our feelings or our feeling uncomfortable about our emotions, that is suppression. Number 4, avoidance. So I'm going to say that this is avoidance of people, situations, and confrontation. 3 things: people, situations, and confrontation. So if you're using avoidance so that you don't have to confront your feelings or your emotions, that is suppression. Number 5, this is a really important one. If you are self-medicating so that you can escape or you don't have to think about or you can numb out your feelings, this is suppression. And this can lead to other disorders, namely substance use disorder. As an example, we see this a lot in the substance use community in terms of addiction medicine. People will use mind-altering substances, or they'll use other behaviors, we call those process addictions, to supplicate their feelings, right? They don't want to feel those feelings and they distract themselves or they escape from it altogether. So be careful about medicating your feelings with something that can grow into an unhealthy habit. Number 6, people that suppress their emotions really do hold other people, at surface level. Surface level relationships. They don't want you to get close. They don't want you to come in. There is no invitation for anything greater than surface level because it would require me to cough up those emotions, and I don't want to do that. Number 7, they really want to stay numb. They don't feel anything at all. And that to them is preferable than to feeling something negative with their emotions. And number 8, sometimes when we're suppressing emotions, we can be very irritable. Remember how I said by suppressing and shoving down those emotions into Pandora's box, so to speak, there are physical things that happen and can happen as a result of suppressing those emotions. One of those things is we become angry, short-fused, and irritated at everything, at everyone, because we are not processing the emotion. Now, those are 8 signs or red flags that possibly you are suppressing your emotions. There are a lot of other ways that it can show up, but those are the most common things that I see in therapy. Now, what do you do if you are a person that is suppressing emotion? Well, I've got 5 tips for you, okay? First, these are the signs. Now, what do I do? Here we go. Number 1, you really do need to consider reaching out to a professional. If you're a person that has developed a pattern or a habit about suppressing your emotions because you don't want to deal with them, you need to understand why. To understand why, reach out to a professional. Somebody that's neutral, somebody that can give you that unconditional positive regard. It's a safe place to talk about things that you don't want to talk about, and they can help you move past it. Number 2, be open with your family. Look, when you suppress your emotions, I promise you, it is impacting the quality of your relationships with your significant other, with your parents, with your friends, your best friends, your children, whoever. It is impacting those relationships, even if you don't want to admit it. If you don't believe me, ask them. Ask them if it bothers them. And they're probably going to tell you that it's caused some trouble. So instead of continuing to allow it to control your life, be open with your family about what you're struggling with. This would require you no longer to suppress. And it's okay to just say, you know what, I'm trying to work on being more open to expressing my emotions and how I feel. Can you please be patient with me? Number 4, it's really important that you set healthy boundaries for yourself. One of the reasons why some of us suppress our emotions is because we have no limitations. It's like a free-for-all for the way people treat us or the way that we respond or the way that we don't respond. Suppressing our emotions is about not responding, right? We don't want confrontation. It makes things worse. So let's do the opposite. Let's set some healthy boundaries and see if it reduces our anxiety about dealing with our emotions. And by the way, I have some videos out there on my channel about setting healthy boundaries and how to do that. So look it up. Number 5, I want you to understand that your feelings and your emotions will not kill you. Yeah, I know. Eureka, Spectacular Smith. I think this is maybe the second one in this video. Your emotions, your feelings are not going to kill you. Granted, they don't always feel good. Granted, they hurt. It can trigger other emotions and feelings we didn't even know that we had. Let me tell you something. You're normal, and it's okay to be afraid of that. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to try sitting with the negative emotion. I know, it's the opposite of what you've been doing, but I want you to try it because when you suppress something, you're pushing it down, the negative feeling actually gets bigger. Yeah, it has the opposite effect. Okay? So what I want you to do is prove to yourself that you can sit through a negative emotion and that it does pass. And it will. Research has shown that a negative emotion generally lasts just a few minutes, and most of the time, just a few seconds. It's more like a flash, okay? But when we suppress it, we allow ourselves to ruminate on it, to think about it, and it grows into something bigger. So what I want you to try is the next time you get cut off in traffic, instead of trying to distract yourself from that anger moment, in that moment, I want you just to let yourself be angry. See how long it takes. Now, I'm not talking about acting out, okay? But what I am talking about is it's okay to be irritated that somebody cut you off in traffic. Just let yourself be irritated. Talk yourself through it. Wait it out and see how long it takes. Usually, that flash of distress isn't going to last very long. And I want you to see that you can do it. You can build your resistance. You can build your flexibility. And you can start to deal with your emotions in a way that doesn't cause more medical and psychological problems for yourself. And the more skills and tools that you learn on how to deal with your negative emotions, and frankly, this is something we all experience. You're not alone, okay? But the more we learn to deal with those things in a healthy way, the happier and healthier we are. Tune into my channel every weekend. I'm posting new videos about mental health and addiction medicine. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You don't want to miss the next one.